Hey lovelies, today I want to talk about getting your art printed on a custom jigsaw puzzle. I have been an avid puzzler all of my life, so I was really excited when puzzles started getting popular, especially during 2020, kind of at the beginning of the pandemic when we were all trying to figure out what to do with ourselves and ways to stay calm. I think because of that, puzzles have gained some newfound popularity with a younger audience, and they're still popular with puzzlers of old, such as myself. I'm gonna talk you through exactly how I got my art printed on a puzzle. Here is the one that I did. It's the Four Seasons. So I'll share the vendor that I use. I'll share some tips for how to make a successful design that's going to be fun for people to make a puzzle out of. But I'll also share some other outlets and avenues that you could explore if my route doesn't work for you. And hopefully me sharing all of these options is going to help you to just navigate through what works best for you, your art, your shop, your budget, your timeline. So let's just get right into it. The company that I ended up using for my puzzles was createjigsaw.puzzles.com. What I liked about what they had to offer is that they had a square format, and all of my art is in a square format, so I loved that I didn't have to awkwardly resize my art to fit a rectangle. You can also create your own custom box, which I loved, being able to control how that looked, the design on the front, being able to put my own logo on it. It just all was completely looked like my own brand, my own design. So I liked having that amount of control to just really be able to make the design fit my brand. You will save money if you order in bulk, but that being said, it will take up space. So I do have like 50 puzzles in my studio currently. I would suggest making a puzzle that is evergreen. My puzzle theme was the Four Seasons, so that's as evergreen as it gets, so I don't feel a huge amount of pressure to push those puzzles for a seasonal time. They can always stay on my shelves. They'll always be able to be relevant to whatever time of season it is, but yes, they do take up space, so I've had to be a little strategic with how I organize my studio based on that. Another route that you can take is to use a print-on-demand site like Society6. I know that they have puzzles. Basically, they will create the product and handle the shipping and the fulfilling of the order. So it's really easy for you. All you have to do is upload your artwork, and then it is on you to obviously promote it on social or your website or whatever, but keep in mind that they will take a cut of the profit. But if it's worth saving that amount of time and potentially space in your studio, or you're not sure you're going to be able to sell them, or you want to do seasonal stuff, I think print on demand will give you a little bit more flexibility. Another route that could be worth exploring would be to partner with a puzzle company, especially if you can find a smaller company, because you can have a one-on-one relationship with them. So sometimes puzzle companies, they'll have like an artist sign up or a competition to try and get your artwork featured on their puzzle, or you can just cold turkey, like reach out to them, send them an email. I did try that and nothing clicked for me, which is why I ended up just making my own, because I really wanted to make a puzzle. So I just had to manifest it. But some options that could be worth checking out would be Jiggy. I love all the artists that they use on their puzzles. I think Piecework is one, Find Inner Peace, Ebu, Peace and Love, and Workshop Co. Those are several that I found that I just really liked the artwork that they had on there, and I thought that my art might have something to offer. Hasn't worked out yet, might work in the future, but keep that in mind with the companies that you're reaching out to. Look at the artists that they've selected for their puzzles and see if you think that you might be a good fit for their audience. So that sort of brings me to figuring out who your target market is. We're talking about who are you trying to appeal to? Who is going to buy this puzzle? Is it going to be avid puzzlers, people who like a challenge? If that's the case, maybe a 1,000-piece puzzle would be easy peasy for them, and it could even be super monotone, not a lot of color variation, not a lot of design details, thinking about what people can tackle and what's going to be a fun puzzling experience for them. I know for me personally, when I'm doing a puzzle, I just want to relax. So I like a 500-piece puzzle, and I want some variation in the design. Actually, I love a good collage puzzle because you can easily segment out sections, and they're actually fun to do with people. So just keeping in mind, like, some variety within the color, within the design, what's just gonna make a fun puzzle. I will also say, thinking about the border, so my puzzle, it bleeds all the way to the very edge, but I've seen some puzzles where it's like a blue edge for the entire outside of the puzzle, which I think is really hard because then you are just putting the pieces together based off of the shapes and you can't really study the differences in color. It just all depends on how you think your audience likes to puzzle. Be really considerate of the artwork that you are putting on that puzzle. Another thing to think about is the subject matter of the artwork. For me, like I was saying, I like to relax when I'm puzzling. That's kind of who I want to reach, is people who are doing puzzles as just a way of relaxing and chilling out. So having some plants, some like lovely costumes, some lovely ladies, like beautiful things to look at that are going to create a relaxing, soothing feeling while they puzzle. Think about the user, like what is going to be fun for them, because at the end of the day, they're the one who's buying this. Okay, so that was some more of like the big picture thinking, and now we can get a little bit more in the weeds with design details and things to consider. One of the things is to make sure that you're considering the bleed for your artwork. So when you upload it, have a little bit of extra margin on the outside because it might get cut. So make sure that you're okay with certain elements getting cut. And if you want anything to be safe and you don't want it cut off, make sure that that's maybe like a 1/2 inch inside the puzzle. So just be thinking about that when you're uploading your artwork. Make sure that critical elements don't get cut in the making of the puzzle. Also check and see if there is a color limit. Maybe you can only have up to 10 colors based off of the printer. A lot of people do digital printing now, so there's not usually a color limitation, but it's something to think about. Another thing that you can do is to ask for a sample from the company, and that way you can see the quality of the pieces, the packaging, what the box looks like, and just make sure that it's a high quality that you would feel confident in selling. Speaking of selling, if you are ordering and you're going to have inventory in stock in your own studio, I would encourage you to do a pre-sale, because then you know exactly how many puzzles to order, so you don't just have a surplus hanging around. I did not do a pre-sale. I felt super confident that I was gonna sell the puzzles, and I did sell a lot of them, but I still have boxes of puzzles in my studio. But I'm glad that I made them evergreen because I don't have to panic about selling them all at a certain time, but I would definitely encourage you to do a pre-sale. I hope that this info has been helpful for you. I think it's really cool to have your art on a puzzle. Like, what a neat way for people to actually physically engage with your art. It's just a very happy thing. So if you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing and liking this video. And you can also follow my art journey on Instagram at Designed by Shea, and you can shop my art prints or my puzzles at Designed by Shea on Etsy. Stay sparkly.